This is a custom filler we built. I've got the conveyor kind of staged up so I can show how the feed system works. It's a control system, 240 volt 3-phase incoming. We have a 24 volt power supply, Micrologic's PLC, and three 3-phase inverter drives for every motor on the machine. Back side. This is the fluid control system, filler feed pump. Pressure gravity filling valves. Reservoir for the machine. Just has a cover on it, of course. This is your touch screen. This is your main screen, the operation screen, if you will. You have a start, a stop, an indicator for filler idle or filler in motion, the input speed in bottles per minute, the conveyor trim speed. 100% has a conveyor synchronous with the machine. As you increase, it'll run slightly faster. Decrease it, the conveyor runs slightly slower. You have the door indicators. Here we have machine status screen. Right now the choke feed is waiting on the infeed, which we have staged up. There is a discharge backup eye that right now is clear, so it's giving us that message. And there's a reservoir status, that's the liquid levels in the tank. Those, as you can see, are pause conditions. Once they remedy themselves, the machine will unpause and start to run again. We also have a bottle discharge function that, just in case a container would get stuck to a valve, be empty, light, whatever the scenario may be, if a bottle would lift up with the valve, that would cause a jam. That will actually stop the machine. That situation is a stop condition because you'd have to go ahead, open the doors, clear the jam, and start the machine again. This is a basic timer screen. This is telling us different in-feed eyes, etc. How much on delay is built in other words, an eye must see for right now. They're all set for half a second. Once we get into production, we'll tune those in a little bit, but right now these are all fully functional in half a second. We have a maintenance screen with a password. The maintenance screen is not designed to allow the operator to change these settings. These are somewhat critical settings, and there's also a jog button which disables the guarding, so we certainly don't want any random individual able to jog the machine. There is a pump enable disable switch for maintenance use. You can disable the pump, enable the pump. There is a flush cycle which will be installed at the plant. That's basically a clean in place function. You can go ahead, and if you can hear right now the pump running, the pump would be running cleaning product through the machine. So that's their cleaning system. This is the, as I mentioned before, the anti-jam function, the bottle lift check function to avoid a jam. You can disable and enable that as well. again for maintenance purposes only. This is the pump speed percentage. This again should only be set by maintenance. This controls the speed of the pump, which will modulate the pressure that the pump applies to the filler. So that's very important that be set correctly for the machine to operate. The fluid system here is not terribly complicated. We have a high-level sensor, a low-level sensor for the operating range of the liquid in the tank. Works very similar to the choke feed. When the water clears the bottom sensor, the system, I'll show you in just a moment, will feed this tank until it reaches the top sensor. Now, we do have a safety eye here. It's a max level switch just to eliminate the possibility of tank overflow. We also have a max minimum switch. If the level drops below that sensor, it disables the pump, so the pump can't run dry and get damaged. If you look down here, you can see the tank feeding a pump. That pump comes around, feeds a rotary joint that allows the machine to rotate while still transmit fluid up into the machine. We got a basic drain here for any purpose you might need. And as these sensors tell the PLC what status they're on, you can see the air we have externally plumbed from the panel. When the system needs fluid, this air valve will open and it will send a signal to the customer's pump to go ahead and turn on and give us liquid. Once the fluid is at appropriate level, this valve will close, the output to the customer's pump will turn off, and we stop feeding liquid to the tank. So this is the basic operation of the machine. Again, start, stop, indicator. We reviewed all that. Now the door system on this machine, the doors actually have to lock in order for the machine to run. So right now you can see all your doors are inactive because I haven't tried to start the filler. I have the two front doors open right now. So if I go to start the machine, you can see I have two doors open. It does not allow it to run because those doors will not lock. Just for demonstration purposes, I'll close door number 1. Right, nose door 2 is still open, will not operate. Close all the doors. Checks all the doors, make sure they're closed, and actually locks the doors shut. The doors may not reopen until the machine is not in motion. So at this point, the conveyor is operating. The machine's waiting to run. Reason being, on the in-feed, we have what's called a choke feed. The choke feed is there to always maintain pressure on the screw with the backlog of containers, and just keeps the filler operating smoothly. So you'll see two eyes here. Basic function: when the containers back up and make this eye, there's a container at rest here. The machine will go ahead and operate until there are no containers at this eye. Then it will go ahead and pause the machine until again we backlog, and I see that I have a full backlog of containers here. So just to demonstrate that, this eye is not blocked right now. We're going to act like additional containers came into the machine. Machine runs. This eye is no longer made. We're maintaining pressure on the screw. It's waiting for more containers. the discharge backup eye. If the containers would backlog to the machine, obviously we'd have a jam. So this eye looks for a container at rest in front of it, and it'll pause the machine so the bottles don't back up into the machine. At this point, the choke feed is not made. If you look at the machine status right now, it'll tell you there's a pause condition, the choke feed is waiting. If the discharge back eye is not made, you'll see it indicates that the eye is blocked and the machine is paused. So the machine, because of the in-feed condition where there's not enough bottles to run right now, is paused. Now at the end of a shift or before a changeover, the operator can merely hold this button, the run out container button, in order to empty the machine. So all the doors are closed. We've got the speed at 70 a minute, which is pretty quick for us just to be able to keep up your testing. We're ready to start, ready to actually run the machine with a decent amount of bottles so you can watch it operate.
Reflector.
Now we've got bottles in the machine, the choke feed's not made, so again I'm going to have to hit the run out containers button. Screen indicating I'm doing so. Machine's designed for 2 container sizes. We're able to run a common screw, which is real convenient. You can see we've got a center guide, in-feed star, discharge star. For the other container, we have another set of change parts. Center guide, in-feed star, discharge star. And these parts are engineered to drop right in place. There's no timing. Just put them on. Machine's ready to run the other containers.